Okay, so as you can see, we're starting with number 22, shifting to and from the harmonic on the D string. As a quick reminder, when you're doing a harmonic, you have to use your whatever finger it says. In this case, for looking at the violin, there's a 4 and a 0 over the harmonic, or the upper note, that D. That's how I know it's a harmonic, because of the 0 tells me it's a harmonic and not a normal note. So you're going to use whatever finger number is above the O, in this case a 4, so your fourth finger, to play the harmonic. Remember that when you're playing a harmonic, you use the flat part of your finger and not the tip, and you barely touch the string. I mean, you just gently put your finger on top of the string and play in your right hand as normal, and it should, if your finger's in the right spot, it should produce a harmonic. So you're going to want to move your hand from first position, where it is normally, usually about here, to what I call harmonic position, so that your left hand, the side of it, is touching the shoulder of the instrument right there. And you might have to move your hand up a little bit like this, and use the flat part of your finger. I'm on a violin right now, but on the D string, and I know that where my finger is right now is the midpoint. It's because I practiced it many times before, and that's a harmonic. That's the open D string, and that is the harmonic. So the exercise for 22 is going back and forth between first position, normal note, and then going to harmonic position, playing the harmonic, and then shifting back. Remember that when you're shifting, going back and forth between positions, that your thumb should go along with for the ride. Right? We don't want to do this. Or something like that. Too much work. So that's 22. Make sure to play the whole thing. Take your time. For the next three, 23, 24, and 23 and 24, the next two, I want to hear a slide when you're shifting, up and down. So remember, when you have a Roman numeral, the Roman numeral in this book will tell you what position you're in. And if you have above that, above the note, a dash or minus sign and a number, that tells you that you're shifting into that position with that finger, with that number finger. So I want to hear, if it's E to G, I want to hear that slide, and that looks like this from the opposite side. And then shifting back. And you might be thinking, well, that's not how people play violin, well anyway. And you're right. But in order to teach your muscles how far to go up on your instrument, in order to get the note, you have to hear what is happening to the pitch, so that you know when you've arrived and when you haven't arrived. And in order to do that, you have to make the slide audible. So that's what I want. Eventually, we're going to get rid of that, but that's what we're going to do there. So that explains those. And then please play on page 15, number 65. The half note has to be a full bow. You have to use nearly the whole bow per half note at about, we'll say a quarter note equaling, I think I have 90. So here's 90 for the quarter note, and they're in half notes, right? We're in C major, no sharps, no flats. Careful about F. It is a natural. So that's what I need to see when you do that one. And a very good, always a good tone quality. That's what we're going for. And then 67, you only have to do the scale on arpeggio for 1 and 2 octaves. You don't have to do, you can try the 3 octave one if you'd like, but you don't have to do that one. Again, I need to hear really good sound quality. I need to hear that you're thinking about your tone and that you're adjusting if you need to. You can keep the metronome going. You can do 90. That's fine. You don't have to have a metronome playing with you, but you could. That's fine. You could go faster, you could go a little slower. I'm not really that worried about that. But what I am worried about is intonation being correct and good. playing the right notes, and if you have to shift for violin people, that you do that accurately, and that your whole and half steps are correct. Okay, and then 68, the dominant arpeggio. Careful about this one. It's hard to hear the B and the F natural. That's where we get into trouble. Make sure that your B's are high enough and that your F naturals are low enough. Right, so if I have B on G string on violin, B natural's right here. F natural is here, right? So it's still my second finger, but that's a pretty big, that's a significant difference of distance between the two. I can't just put my finger on the other string. I have to put it on the next string and then pull it back or push it up, depending on what way you're going. And yeah, thirds you don't have to do here. And then, last thing, the rhythm. How I want you to do this when you're recording it. You're going to have a metronome set to 90 for the quarter note. For the first one, number 108 B. Yeah, you're just going to play it with the metronome. Make sure that you're playing it with the metronome. These are quarter notes. So if you have an eighth note that is on beat 1, let me turn that off. On beat 1 or 2, make sure that you are playing it along with the metronome. And even more, well, just as important, if you have an eighth note on the and of a beat, you have to make sure that you place it accurately in accordance with the metronome. Okay, so this is, it'll be interesting to see how how we do with this, but it's going to sound like this. So number 208B, and I need you to count a measure before you start. So if we're in 2, you have to count 2. If you're in 4, you have to count 4. You know. So we're in 2. I'll count 2. 1, 2. Okay, and then I'll turn this one off, and then you do the next 2, or 3. What did I have you going up to? Number 10B, the next 2. Yeah. Careful that 209 is in 3, not 2. So I'm going to count 3, and I'll do that one. This is 209. 1, 2, 3. All right. And then same thing for the next one. In order to get full credit for this lesson, you have to play all of these. I would suggest strongly that you practice them before you record, because if they sound unpracticed when you record, you will not get full credit. You need to, you know, have some idea of what you're doing when you're recording it, and it will take a while for you to probably record all of these. Please make it in as best as you can, put it into one video. If you have to cut it up, that's fine. Have fun.